Today I want to talk about standardized reading tests and why they don't measure your comprehension perfectly. Now we've all taken them. You have a passage to read and then you have questions to answer. There's a time limit on the test. And some people take these tests too seriously, especially administrators, teachers, and principals. Not all of them, but the problem is some people think that this is a very good measure of comprehension. Now, although it does give us an idea of comprehension, it's not perfect. I wouldn't say it's an objective measure. When I say objective, I mean something that you can kind of know for certain. So let's look at the standardized reading tests. You have a passage to read and questions to answer. First of all, those questions are asking you, what do you remember from what you just read? Now, that's derived from comprehension, but they're also asking you, what do you remember? And what you remember is a little different than what you comprehend. So comprehension is what you're understanding the moment you're reading it. And then once I look away from this and you ask me, what is that about? Or I take a quiz, now I'm relying on my retention. Sometimes you could have good comprehension and very poor retention. So that's one of the issues. The other issue has to do with situations where students do not finish the test. And I'll give you an example. I remember I was working with a bunch of groups of students in a high school, and they broke it down into three main groups: below average, average, and above average. And they based it off of a standardized reading test. And I remember working with the below average students, and they didn't score too well on this test. One student, he had 19 out of 38. So he scored a 50% on that standardized reading test. Now, unfortunately, this student and his parents were told that he had poor comprehension. 19 out of 38, that's a pretty poor test score. But here's the problem. When I got a chance to look at his actual test, he didn't answer all the questions. Although he scored 19 out of 38, 50%, he only answered 19 out of 20 questions. How do you feel about his comprehension now? I don't know about you, but I think his comprehension is pretty good. We know what happened here. He just didn't finish the test. So it's not fair to call someone like that a poor reader. Well, I mean, they did poorly on the test, sure, but you can't say their comprehension is poor. And this is why standardized reading tests are not the best measure. So I just wanted to do a video like this so people understand when we're talking about reading comprehension, it's not just about how you did on a standardized reading test. Sure, if you finished that test and you got 38 out of 38, then yeah, you're a good test taker and you also have very good reading comprehension. But what about those scenarios where someone is not finishing? So we need to find ways to improve comprehension. It's not easy. We don't really have a perfect way to measure it, but we definitely know when our comprehension is not good. You ever read a whole page of text and you're like, I have no clue what I just read. So we need to find ways to improve our focus. And you can check out some of our previous videos to see how you can learn to improve your own comprehension. Just don't take those standardized reading tests too seriously.